real stories, raw truth. This is Whiskey and War Stories.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and War Stories. Thank you guys for joining us. We got Jaime, Brian, Q. What's up, guys?
What's up, brother?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good. Trying to stay
Good.
cool out there.
Yeah,
it's a hot one today.
for sure.
It's a little warm. So, with it being warm, we're going to go ahead and stay hydrated by drinking our little drinky drinks. And for tonight, Ryan actually has the honors to talk about the bottle and the fallen hero for the night. Ryan?
All right. Well, I'm honored. So I just got back from an awesome trip to Ireland and Scotland.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, nice.
So, of course, I picked up a bottle of special edition Redbreast, which I'd never seen. It says Redbreast, Cuatro Barriles, 4 barrels, is a rich, complex Irish whiskey. It combines 4 types of cask maturation: bourbon, sherry, a sweet Spanish sherry, and virgin oak. It has a profile of notes of dried fruit, spice, vanilla, roasted nuts, and dark chocolate. Sometimes when I read these, I feel like if it said it was like Doritos, I would taste Doritos in it. So,
Do you?
do I taste Doritos?
Yeah, do you?
No, no, but I do taste what it said here. But it's very good, kind of sweet like a port. But it's bottled at 48%. So very good. Redbreast Cuatro Barriles.
Nice. So we're looking at
Nice.
what, 90 something alcohol content?
48.
Is that what it is? Yeah, it's at
Double it.
48% ABV, whatever that means for you experts.
Yeah.
Is that
Just
a good
double it,
punch? Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. How's the flavor profile there, Ryan?
It's really sweet. Like if you ever had Redbreast, which is probably my favorite whiskey, which is kind of floral anyway. This is kind of like sweeter, like a port wine almost. So maybe an after dinner cigar type of drink.
Ooh.
Oh.
So yeah.
Fancy.
Mhm.
And what is a bottle like that cost?
It costs about €80 over there, which is close to $90. So nothing crazy.
Okay. And it's something you
Man,
can't
bro,
you can't buy that Redbreast here then. I've never seen
I
that.
don't believe so. Not yet.
I was
Oh,
going to
okay.
say $90 for a bottle. Nothing crazy, bro. You must make some good money. I'm over here drinking like scrap.
Hey.
Hey, way to flex on us, but hey, Ryan, that's why we have you here, all right? You are our financier of the show.
All right, you got me.
Yeah, no, awesome, man, awesome. And who would you like to dedicate the bottle to for tonight?
Yeah, so we're dedicating today to a CHP officer, Miguel Cano, who died July 2nd. He was killed in a vehicle crash at Bristol Parkway North on Green Valley Circle in Culver City, which is about 30 miles from us. Him and his partner had just arrested a subject for possession of drugs and an illegal weapon. Thankfully, we have a district attorney who's going to prosecute that now. And they were transporting this prisoner to be processed. While driving, Officer Cano stated he did not feel well. Shortly after that, he suddenly lost control of a patrol vehicle and crashed into a tree and died.
Oh, shoot.
He served with the California Highway Patrol for 2 years. He's survived by his wife and his parents, and unfortunately, he was 34 years old. So here's cheers to him. Yeah, horrible. Sounds like some sort of medical emergency at such a young age.
Wow.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to him. Rest
Cheers.
easy, brother.
Sure,
Yep,
brother.
rest in peace.
Good dedication, Ryan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that just happened not a couple days ago.
Yeah, last week. Yeah,
Yeah.
horrendous.
Wow. Yeah.
It sucks that when we do these dedications that they're like so recent. The last one we did was Sammy
Sammy and May.
Riveros, and then
And he was also young too, 35, I think you said, if I remember correctly.
yeah, it was really
Like
young.
that's dang, dude.
Yeah, kind of the two polar opposites of a cop. Sometimes you expect, or you think of a cop dying, it's like he did in the line of duty, taking fire, and then on this other extreme, it's just a random. I'm going to assume a medical emergency, a heart attack, something of that nature.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to him.
Mm-hmm.
Godspeed to him and his family.
Yes, sir.
And for tonight's guest of honor, um, Jaime actually had the pleasure of inviting this guest. So I'm going to go ahead and let Jaime introduce our guest for the night.
Yeah. So before I introduce him, I just want to throw a little something out there that I think when we chose to do the platform virtual now instead of in person, we had talked about how it opened up a whole new arena, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, for lack of better words, of guests, that we're now able to reach guests from afar.
Yeah.
And so the guest we have tonight is just that. As a matter of fact, it's not just from afar; it's the farthest guests that we've ever had on.
Yeah.
An international guest. And the quick background is, when I attended the FBI National Academy, which was kind of the reason that we took a hiatus from the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I went to the academy, I had the option of having a local roommate, in other words, a roommate from the US, or joining the international program and having an international roommate. So I elected to have an international roommate because, what other time in my life am I going to get a chance to meet somebody from some other culture and,
Right.
kind of learn from them? And a lot of times it's a gamble because maybe you don't mesh well or whatever. So I just kind of took the risk and I said, hey, whatever, I'll do it. It's a once in a lifetime thing. And I don't know if it was just I just struck gold or whatever, but so my roommate, I ended up with a roommate. He's a police commissioner from Sao Paulo, Brazil.
Uh,
Um, and not only did we hit it off, we became like best friends in the FBI Academy, and um, we were like known. It was a class of like 250 some people. We were known for like the best set of roommates because we pretty much did everything together. We hung out together, and what's really unique because there's a lot of international partners that didn't get along.
oh
Their
wow.
their American counterpart didn't get along with the international roommate. They never hung out together. They didn't do stuff together. That was not the case for myself
Nice.
and my roommate. We completely hit it off. As a matter of fact, after we graduated from the academy, he actually came down to California, and we spent a week together. Just hanging out with him and his fiance, and touring LA and doing that type of stuff. So
Nice.
I was very fortunate, and it was really a great experience for me at least. Um, Really to be blessed with such a good roommate and somebody that now I call a lifelong brother. So this is the first time that we're actually doing someone so far away. So I'm really pleased to introduce. His name is Mario Sergio de Oliveira Pinto. He's a police commissioner from Sao Paulo Civil Police in Brazil. He's worked with the organization for about 23 years. He served in various units with his department, including the State Department of Traffic, which belonged to the police for many years in the state of Sao Paulo. He's worked for the Homicide Department, the Special Operations Group, and the Department of Administration and Planning, where he currently works. Since January of 2020, he's been responsible for implementing the modernization program for weapons, lethal and less lethal, ammunition, and ballistic protection for their entire organization. Now, just to put things in perspective, Pomona's, we're roughly 150 to 60 officers, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan, ballpark.
Yeah.
Sao Paulo, they have thousands
Oh
of
my
officers there. So Mario is responsible for all the weapons, ballistics, everything for their entire department. So definitely, um, a really, really big task. In 2024, Mario attended the FBI National Academy Session 292 and had the honor of meeting many colleagues and now lifelong friends. Without further ado, um, introduce Mario to everybody.
Mario, what's going on, brother? Welcome,
Hey
welcome.
guys.
Really impressive. Actually, I didn't even know about some of this stuff, Mario. So that's
Bro, that's a resume. That is a resume. And hey, Mario, you must be a really cool guy because while Jaime was gone, he would not shut up about you. Like at one point, I thought he was gonna ask you to come on and take my place. So it's good to meet you, brother.
Guys, good night. It's already 9 here in Brazil. It's an honor. It's a privilege and an honor to be here with you guys. Nice to meet you, Victor. Nice to meet you, Ryan. And Ivan, nice to see you again, bro.
You too, brother. Yeah.
Was he a clean
Yeah,
freak?
that was a hell
Clean
of a
freak?
time.
Was he a clean freak?
So
Sort of.
funny story that he asked. I was really nervous before I left because I'm like, man, I have a little OCD when it comes to like cleanliness, and
A
hygiene and
little.
stuff like that. So, yeah, understatement. I was really nervous when I was meeting my roommate from Brazil. I remember he gave me his name, and I searched it on Facebook, and I wanted to see what he looked like and see if he had like any pictures. And I'm like, man, what if he smells? What if he's dirty? And quite the contrary. So he's super clean. Yeah. So I think that was the first thing to hit it off. Well, no, that's not the first thing to hit it off. When I walked into the room, the first thing that hit it off was Mario gave me a bottle of alcohol from Brazil.
There you go.
That's
And
true.
I said, you know what? We're going to be
Nice
best
move.
friends.
Nice move.
Very, very, very smooth. Yeah. So welcome, Mario.
Thank
We
you.
had a couple lists of topics to talk about. Talk a little bit about PTSD, mental health. I know you know what this podcast is about. We're going to talk about a little bit of leadership and command. Probably touch on some cultural and global perspectives, difference in policing, and if leadership and PTSD is different in Brazil than it is in America, or if it's the same thing. If what it looks like there is it does it look like here? And honestly, we're just gonna have a good conversation. This is unscripted. We don't give our guests a list of questions because we just kind of like it to be raw, kind of off the cuff, whatever's at the top of your head. So, and we kind of pride ourselves in the podcast for having it kind of raw like that, not so much a scripted kind of a podcast. So whatever you say here is, it's an open forum. You can be as vulnerable as you want. So we're just here to have a good conversation. We have a glass of whiskey and we're just going to have a good talk, brother, and see if we can unpack some stuff and see if there's some listeners around the world that we can help maybe,
Yeah.
So, to kind of start out, Mario, I kind of want to give you the floor. And I know we've talked about some stuff together at the Academy, you and I, but is there a moment in your career that you can share that left a lasting emotional imprint on you? Maybe a call that you went to, something that happened, something that, something significant that you can think of that really left a lasting impact on you.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I've been for 23 years, almost 23. Yeah, 23 years. First and foremost, guys, sorry about my English. My English is bad. If you guys don't get, it's probably not a problem with the audio. It's just my terrible accent. Just ask me now, and I'll try to say it again. But yeah, Jaime. When I went to the FBI Academy, I had the opportunity to take one of the classes available, and it was called Leading At-Risk Employees, and it was an amazing class. Miss Heidi Ramsey, she was an amazing instructor, and it was a sort of a therapy because in a class composed by 20, almost 30 police officers from all walks of life, and we had the opportunity to open ourselves and to share some stories, and I had the opportunity to share what happened to me when I was for only 3 months supervisor to the Special Operations Group. That was in 2019, like 6 years ago. And one of the commissioners, a dear friend, he was that type of guy, like super guy, CrossFitter and like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, black belt, diver, skydiver, used to, do all kinds of things. A good shooter, SWAT, pretty solid guy. And he was suffering from depression. But we used to talk like daily, like more than an hour over the phone. And he was that kind of guy that, "What's up, Mario? Oh, let's get some drink. Let's, He was like super happy all the time, but actually he was kind of hiding something, and he didn't want to be vulnerable because he was leading a team of like 15 cool guys and good guys, and they all kind of saw him as a good leader and a solid guy, as like an example to follow. And in my point of view, he didn't want to be like the vulnerable guy, like, "I have a problem, please, I need some help." So he was that kind of guy, available 24/7. And then 2020, I left the special operations group. I went to this logistics department. It was the beginning of the COVID pandemic, and I got this news that he shot himself to the chest with this service weapon inside armor vehicle. So the EMS guys took like more than 30 minutes to cut off the glass because it was a armored vehicle. He was taken alive to the hospital, but he died at the emergency room. Like a Glock 21 45 caliber shot to the chest. We couldn't see that coming because when I talked about him, and we did all of the time, he was working at the helicopter unit, because special operations group was kind of dissolved, and they sent some guys to another tactical unit, and he was a pilot, so they sent him to the air unit. He seemed happy, but he was like dying from inside, and no one saw it coming. So it shocked me. And then after that, I began thinking, how many guys, like my peers, my supervisors, so my officers, are struggling with that. So that opened me like opportunity to think about it, to think about PTSD, to think about depression, anxiety, abuse of substances. And sometimes you are so focused in your job, and you just want to to finish the day and finish your missions, and you don't have time to look to yourself and the people around you. And there are so many people that are right now struggling with that. My agency is composed of 27,000 officers. We have like a WhatsApp group for emergencies, and it's like a death a day, heart attack, suicide, car crash. So imagine like one per day for a agents of 27,000. It's like a zero statistics, but like one is too many.
Wow.
Yeah, agreed. Mar, did anybody ever figure out why he committed suicide? Like, what was the reason behind it?
Yeah, sort of. Used to, when I was working at the homicide department, I had the chance to work with his sister. He had a like elder sister. She was an investigator. She recently retired. Super solid girl. She's amazing. And I met his mother as well. His father was a police officer and committed suicide. His grandfather was a police officer and also committed suicide.
Oh my God.
So
Wow.
he was, super active guy. When the special operations group was dissolved, I was a supervisor. I was kicked out by my former supervisor because, long story short, he sent me to a mission that like was kind of against our policy, and I said no. But I won't do anything illegal or against the policy. And then he just kicked me out of the unit. But I had the opportunity to say, okay, you are removing me, but at least put someone that loves this place, and he's the guy. He's Adriano was his name. So he gave Adriano the opportunity. So I think it was like a peak of his career. He was so happy and so excited, so motivated. And like 1 year after this event, the group was dissolved. Some guys were sent to another tactical unit. He was sent to this aerial unit, but he didn't want to fly. And suddenly they took his team, his colleagues, his officers, and I think he was, as far as we know, he was suffering from depression. But I think that was like, the limit, the like what triggered this like extreme feeling and
Yeah.
That kind of reminds me of Mario. We had a guest on our podcast about 1.5 years ago, and he was a retired Pomona police detective. Really, really great cop. Just he could find gangsters with guns. He could find stolen cars, like it was nobody's business. And we invited him on the podcast, and on the podcast, he had told us that basically he had come from a line of suicides. That his father was a very decorated LAPD cop that had committed suicide. His wife was a Pomona cop that I work with, that Ryan worked with for quite a few years. She also committed suicide. Um, so I remember after we had talked to him, we had thought how prone he is to committing suicide because of the history
Yeah.
that he had and that he grew up with. So when you talk about that, that's the first thing that I remembered. Was thinking about that cop that we had spoke with, that had dealt with 2 suicides. Similar to your partner. Go ahead, Q.
Oh, I was just gonna. Mario had brought something up that, man, it's you're talking about the deaths within your guys' department, almost like one a day kind of thing.
Insane.
And that's a crazy number, right? So I wanted to ask, how is your guys' culture in approaching deaths within your department, especially them happening so often? Because out here, here in the States, um, thankfully we don't see a lot of deaths of first responders, but they do happen. And when they do happen,
It's
you
huge.
see the community come together so heavy. You see departments from all over the place come together and show their respects and things like that.
Mhm.
Now, that's because they don't really happen often, right? Now in your guys' culture, do you guys do the same thing with these deaths happening so often?
yeah, it's kind of similar. Uh, Not as strong as in the US, but when I took that class that I mentioned, this leading at risk employees, I was the only international student in this class. So I think it was like 26 students, like 25 Americans and me. So I had the opportunity to do this comparison myself about how we deal with deaths and you know and all this tragedies, because every single student was invited to tell a story. And I share mine for the first time, and I saw that, like my other 25 colleagues in this class, some shared their story for the first time as well.
Mhm.
And as far as I could see, it's pretty similar. However, it's kind of the state of São Paulo. We have 42 million people here. So the investigations police, the civil police, the organization, my agency, it's kind of only 27,000. So we're just a small department of this big structure. We have the military police. They do the patrolling. They're the guys in uniform. So they are like 4.5 times our size, and they're more exposed. I think the statistics right now, it's about like 100, 120 deaths per year. And
Wow.
that's OIS. You can like maybe double or triple this figures when if you put together like heart attacks or car crash,
Mhm.
because
Wow.
like the community could think it's non-service related, right? He just had a heart attack because he's not fit. He doesn't work out. He, greasy food and all that stuff. But we know that most of these officers die by stress.
Mhm.
So being like a common thing, not all deaths go to the news, but sometimes it does. And when there's like a shooting and the officer kills someone, or like kill the bad guy and gets shot and die because of his wounds, that will last like 2 or 3 minutes in the media, and that's it. So people go over internet and say, "Well, that's violence in Brazil. That's violence in São Paulo. It has to stop," uh, and that's it. And that's it. And what we do, homicide department goes out and start an investigation. The colleagues, peers, go to the funeral. We got the police helicopter and throw some flowers, and that's it. It's kind of sad because happens every day.
Like a revolving door, huh?
Yeah, just like that.
Wow.
It's crazy.
One of the
That's heavy.
things that we talked about, Mario, that I didn't realize, and just out of sheer ignorance, really, because Brazil is still considered a third world country.
Yeah.
And I remember when we had talked, we had discussed the differences in law enforcement, and I guess because I just assumed that Brazil's a third world country, that the technologies and the strategies and the tactics that you guys used were maybe more primitive than we would use, say, in the U.S. And come to find out that that wasn't the case. I remember we had talked about, one of the things you told me was like, yeah, our cops wear body cameras, and we have Bearcats, and we have internal affairs, and we investigate these things, and cops get fired all the time. And I guess I was shocked because I didn't realize that that it's that level of sophistication that you guys operate under as well. But one of the things that I think really separated us from you guys, and probably where a lot of the PTSD comes from too, maybe on your guys' side, is I remember you were talking about like the favelas, right? Which is kind of like the ghetto, I guess, in Sao Paulo. And you were saying that there's areas there that there's cops. They gotta go in with like 6 or 7, 8 cops. They can't just go in by themselves.
Wow.
Pomona's
Yep.
where we work. It's a ghetto city. There's a lot of crime and a certain gang population there. But I don't think there's anywhere in our city that like 8 cops have to go in, to enforce or respond to a call for service or enforce some type of law. It's not like that in our city. Obviously, much different, where you're from in the favelas, where you got to have a squad of cops go in to address issues. Like kind of talk about that. Like, is that a
Yeah.
normal thing for you guys? And do you think that has an effect on a lot of cops, the amount of violence that's there?
Yeah. Unfortunately, violence it's a kind of common thing. I was talking to one of my friends. I was showing him that we are flying a belt-fed machine gun on our helicopters, and people could say, "Wow, that's pretty cool." No, it's not. We are doing so because we need it,
Hmm.
and we just have like 2 helicopters. Now we are buying 2 more.
Wow.
The military police, they have like 34 helicopters. It's
Wow.
it's a lot of firepower, and we use all that kinds of things like machine guns and Bearcats and all kinds of equipment. And I could say that's pretty cool because I buy some of that stuff and they let me shoot it. So it's pretty cool when I'm at the range, like testing it and doing some reports and all the stuff. But at the end of the day, uh, when you think like, come on, this is the equipment that will be used in a like warlike scenario like we have here,
Sure.
and in comparison to Rio, you see, Rio is a wonderful city. It's a super, touristic, and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But the violence in Rio, it's like 5 times in São Paulo.
Wow.
The
Wow.
thing is, yeah, Brazil is a third world country, but we are not poor. That's the problem, because we have like so many like rich people and like legions of poor people, and I think that's the main social issue we have. For instance, São Paulo, if we were a country, São Paulo would be richer than Belgium, and but you see, you look at the map and you see some places in Brazil, they're just like as poor as in Africa. Some African countries like Sub-Sahara, and that's the reality. We have like you know thousands of Lamborghinis and Porsches driving through this madness traffic cities of São Paulo, and then you look at turn right and you're inside a favela, and people like making like $1 a day.
Wow.
So that's why we have this kind of ghettos. Uh, there's one big difference between São Paulo and Rio because of geography.
Hmm.
In Rio, they like uphill favelas, so it's pretty difficult for the police officers to go to the top of this hill. Like they have all the tactical advantage. They can
High ground.
shoot from above, high ground. Yep. And São Paulo, you get the map of São Paulo, see spots, little spots of these favelas, just kind of hidden.
I was gonna say it's crazy listening to you talk about your guys' culture. As far as the equipment that you guys use out there for police work, because we see it here in the States where a lot of people will complain that like the police out here are so militarized and militarized this and militarized that, and then
Yeah,
you say that you guys have helicopters with belt fed machine
yeah,
guns on them, and I'm like, God forbid
Yeah.
a police department
Yeah.
ever brought out a helicopter with a belt-fed,
Yeah.
machine gun, everyone would lose their mind, So just to
Yep.
seeing like that major difference where it's like,
Yep.
you know, you guys are having to use what you guys have to use to control what's out there, right? Whereas out here, it's not even to that point. So it's just seeing the major differences in the two. It's wild, dude. It's absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's really interesting because you know, a lot of times and there's politics obviously involved in law enforcement as well, but we have trouble sometimes getting canines and
Hmm.
because sometimes those can be viewed as overly aggressive or really
Right,
primitive use of force
right.
tactics. And then we have Mario talking about having belt fed machine guns on their helicopters. We're just trying to get FLIRs on our helicopters and
I was gonna say,
good cameras and much
how much
less
longer until Pomona gets belt fed? That will
probably
never
never
happen.
ever
Never
ever
No,
in
happen.
the rest
no,
of our
don't do that.
history. Um,
Yeah,
so and obviously it's that's the type of stuff that you deal with in some of those areas. The high crime rate. Um, so hats off to you, Mario. Uh,
yeah.
one of the things I want to touch about, Mario, I have a question for you, and it's going to be a two-part question. And I think I know the answer to the first one, but um, have you personally experienced post-traumatic stress in your 23 years as a police officer? And if you have, how has that affected your leadership style, your stress? Like, how has that molded you into the type of person that you've become?
Yeah, sure. And I, after some operations, and I've seen people like get shot.
Mhm.
I've seen people dying, and you know, when you were younger, you get this adrenaline kick, and you're recently out of the police academy, and you just got into this special operations unit, and let's go and let's go inside the favelas and let's go get the bad guy. When I was at the homicide department, I used to work for a unit that was specialized in dealing with hooligans, like those crazy football or soccer fans.
Mhm.
Hmm.
They like battling each other after or before a game or match. And like they're dangerous people. They kill each other, like for stupid things. And you know, but over time, I think we get used of this adrenaline,
Mhm.
and you get older, like more, you know, experienced, and then you realize that that how exposed you got and your team over an operation. You know, you're risking your life and life of your guys, and time after time, and you sit with the guys and realize that was it worth it. We have this, it's kind of paradox because we have the mission, we have to do what we must do, but you know sometimes we just, when you go home and look at your family and all the things you are risking your life, and yeah, that's very complicated because uh, nobody knows about it. But like the second part of our question, Jaime, how affected my leadership? You know, for 5 years now, I am doing like behind the desk job. The only operation we do right now, it's when we have to go to the range and test or equipment, and
Sure.
we have to escort this ordnance and all the stuff. And sometimes we use helicopters for support because we go to the airport to get a cargo of thousands of pistols that we bought and all that stuff. That's the danger we face today. But I think I am more cautious today, and I think more about myself and my family and the family of my officers. So we risk less, I think. So we used to go inside a favela with like a team of 4.
Yeah.
And now I just go to the airport to grab like a truck of ammunition, and we use like 25 cars and 1 helicopter.
Jesus.
Oh my god.
Because like I think the older you get, more scary you get. I think that would be.
So I wanted to ask this question, and this can actually go to the 3 of you, because you guys are all in law enforcement. And I'm gonna preface this with like what I do. So I'm a barber. You know, I see the start and the end of my job, right? I start the haircut, I finish the haircut, boom. All right, see you later. For the 3 of you, and Mario, I want you to touch on this. You guys are in a career where you guys might not see the end. You guys might not see the job finished because it seems like crime is always going to be there. So how do you guys handle it mentally to know that although you're pouring your heart, your energy, blood, sweat, tears into this job, that at the end of the day, the job just might not be finished?
Yeah. I don't know. You guys want to start? May I?
Yeah, Ryan, I know you look
I
like
was just going to say that, by default, one way that we deal with that was compartmentalize a lot of stuff that we shouldn't.
Yeah.
So, everything from, like you mentioned, Q, stuff that we don't see resolved. I remember vividly when I was a brand new corporal, I didn't see, but rolled up on me after a 5-year-old boy got hit by a car, and I rolled up. He was still alive, but I was pretty much cradling him and waiting for the ambulance to get there. And one of those calls I still think about sometimes at 2 a.m. when I can't sleep. But the way we lock it up, right? We bottle our feelings, we stuff them down, and we go on to the next call. And I would venture to say that that's the way that 90% of cops, at least that I know, handle stuff, and it's not healthy. That's essentially how I've dealt with stuff my entire career, and I know it's not the best way to handle it.
Yeah, good point. I mean, to piggyback off that, we've talked about it too. It's I think by design we were built that way from day one, right? Like the way the academy teaches you, those that were in the military, they teach you those type of things. And I think Mario you did a stint in the military too in Brazil. I remember we had talked about that. I think you were in the army or something like that. Sorry if forgive me if I messed up the branch, but that were ingrained from day one to do those things, right? To be like hardened, warriors in a sense, and so that it helps us accomplish the mission. And a lot of military branches and police department are very successful in that respect, right? In building these hardened warriors. But what we're not so good at least historically, now I feel like we've come leaps and bounds, is how to rewire that. How do you get people back to zero when they were at 100? You know what I mean? How do you make them, for lack of better words, how do you make them softer from being so hard all the time? And that's really a challenge because, I mean, I know cops, and I Ryan knows probably way more than I do, cops that have retired that have kept that hardened core even in their retirement. And it does have an adverse effect in personal life, and those type of things. They were great cops, but maybe they weren't great husbands, maybe they weren't great brothers, maybe they weren't great sisters, great
Mhm.
wives. Does that make sense? But
Yeah.
they were just phenomenal police officers. But they just, because the scales were tipped so much on one side that there was no balance. And when they left,
Yeah.
there was still this hardness that weighed down
Yeah.
their personal life. And for a lot of people, it's really hard to come back from,
Yeah.
because they don't seek the help that we preach about a lot, because then it was perceived as weakness.
Right.
Let's be frank, it really was. Now it's not perceived as weakness anymore. We're trying to change that so that it's perceived as a strength to seek
Mhm.
help. To talk to somebody, to be vulnerable, is actually strength. It's not being weak.
Yeah.
So that when you leave this profession, you're still not this hardened,
Yeah.
warrior,
Yeah.
or asshole, as
Yeah.
a civilian would perceive you to be.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I guess as far as the end, for me, I think that a lot of us, when we get in this profession, we know that we're not going to see it through, if
Mm.
that makes sense. There will
Mhm.
always be crime.
Yeah.
It's like similar to you, but different. There's always gonna, you're gonna cut a hair, but I mean, you cut the hell out of my hair today, but in a week from now, it's going to be growing back again. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? It's the same thing
True.
in the
Okay.
job. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
you arrest one bad guy, but an hour later, another bad guy's going to be breaking into a car or stealing something. And I think as long as you go into knowing that you're trying to make a difference, we know that we're not going to solve the problem, because how do you solve all a crime? I think
Right.
that's a rhetorical question, I guess.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
if you focus more on making a difference than solving it,
Mhm.
then I feel like that sustains you through your career, and
Okay.
that's
You
what
know,
sustained me
one call at a
personally through my
time.
career. One call at a
Yeah.
time. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
One call
exactly,
at a time.
exactly. Yep.
Mario,
Yeah.
you spoke. You have some really good stories, and I'm actually throwing it back at the violence that you guys deal with. I'm just curious. Right now in the United States, we have an era where it's a lot of defund the police and people rioting, and police aren't the favorite people of some segments of society, and we're having a lot of trouble not only recruiting but retention of people. Um, with so many people dying, so much crime, I'm just wondering, in your country, like, how do you keep cops there? I mean, are you guys paid comparable to what we are, which is pretty decent, or there's people like me and Jaime that are in it for the love of the game. We love being cops, but not everyone's like that. So how do you guys
Yeah.
keep cops being cops?
Yeah. Yeah. First of all, I would like to agree what Jaime said about this hard shell, and it's a strength today to seek for help. And you said, Ryan, sometimes we bottle up our feelings, and then some one day that will come out. For your question, yes, we used to say I had an uncle. He passed away a few years ago. He stayed in the force for 37 years. So he started in 1980, I think. And he used to say, like, back then, in my time, in 1980, we, yeah, that's, that we are, you're like, you are an old cop when we start saying this. And I'm saying this a lot lately. And back in my days and all
Yeah.
this stuff. Yeah. Back in my days, people, you know, just they had a lot of another other opportunities, job opportunities, and we used to see more officers choose the police as like an art. You know, it's more than a profession; it's like a way of life.
Mm.
But because of unemployment and all that stuff, and that's politics evolve and economy, we we see some people like jumping from one job to another and like taking the this job is just like like a standard job. It's just another job, and retention is a problem today because, as we said, we are 27,000, but we should be like 34. And the law permits we could be like maximum 39,000. And when they fixed this number like 30 years ago, we didn't have the population we have today. Okay, we have the technology, but we can do a lot of things online and fill a complaint online and all this stuff. And we have like drones and body cameras and all this stuff, but still, we are short on people. And I do, because up to 2 years from that, 2 years ago, I started teaching classes at the police academy as a firearms instructor. And I take these people to the range, and we can see clearly, like, some of the guys, like, oh my God, I'm going to shoot a gun. I'm going to be a police officer. Please tell me, can you describe how is operation inside a favela? Because I wanna make part of this, and I wanna go inside of a car and the helicopter and the machine guns and all this stuff. Oh, man, come on, hold your horses. you get your opportunity, but first things first. Let's talk about like a trigger safety, okay? But however, you see some guys that it's just a job, like, hey, instructor, how many points do I need to pass on your, to be approved? And you have to like do like 70% of the score, maximum score. Okay, he'll go for the 70%, and he doesn't care.
Interesting. So, one of the things we talked about is, your agency is so large, Mario. Whereas, where I come from, we're less than 200 sworn police officers. So I want to talk a little bit about like officer wellness. So for us, on a scale that's, a department that's less than 200, it's obviously easier to have officer wellness. We have things like employee assistance program that allows our cops to confidentially seek therapy, marriage counseling, grief, those type of things. There's even, you can attend classes online, you can go to classes in person. We have things like a facility dog that walks around the building, and you pet it and it uplifts your mood. We have things like that we'll have. Sometimes we'll cater food, or just to lighten up the mood of the agency, make people happy, motivated. It's easy for us, easier because we're on a smaller scale. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan, but we kind of pride ourselves on where our officer wellness program is at. We got like, we have a therapy chair that you can sit at, get a massage before your shift, or if you have court before court. We're implementing these things to make life better as a police officer. And, I don't think any of them are drastic steps, but they're incremental steps. And the more incremental steps you have, the more steps you take forward. So I think we pride ourselves in our wellness program. What's that look like for you guys? Do you have a wellness program? And if you do, what's working and what's not working for you guys?
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, São Paulo Civil Police was founded in 1905. Our wellness program started this year, 2025.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
With a death every day.
Yeah. And we don't even call it a wellness program. And recalling the class I had, the National Academy, this leading at-risk employees, and I saw a lot of similarities about culture, how hard it is for a police officer especially like SWAT unit, Special Operations Group, to like seek for help and open up and all this stuff. So it's a cultural, there's a cultural barrier as well. But this year, 2025, they start like we call it a pilot for psychological assistance online. So every police officer will get a chance to consult with the like a therapist online to express himself and talk about stress and PTSD and any problem, any issue he has with the family and all this stuff. This is the we are they're they're beginning this program right now. But up to now, like since 1905 up to like last April, if you need help, you had to like take care of yourself and rely on your family and go seek a therapist and go seek a doctor. And there's one thing that nobody knows. Jaime is my brother, and I feel this is a safe place, so I can share this. I was holding that for like forever. As Ryan said, we bottom up our feelings, and I, I never had the courage to seek for help, and I did this year. I started some therapy. I went to the doctor. I'm taking like light medications because I was like diagnosed with depression.
Mm.
Not like super hard depression, but not light as well, but like medium level. And what my doctor said is the sooner the better. So you had the courage to seek for help, and I know that it's really hard for police officers to seek for help, and I did. I did it because of my fiance, because of my mother, and because of my sister. They're the only three people that know about it, and I have some colleagues that will be hearing us. Please Mario, share the link. I want to listen to the podcast, and probably tomorrow they don't look me, don't give me the eye. Oh, you're taking medication. You have depression. Yes, I do. I have depression and anxiety, and I had not destructive, thoughts about myself. I don't think I'll be able like to shoot myself, but I felt like kind of sadness, that I kind of knew that I was going to die. And the FBI Academy was a life changer for me because I didn't knew that I didn't know that I was feeling that. I was kind of okay. And then I had the opportunity to go to the FBI Academy, and I met like wonderful people like my brother Jaime, and it was amazing. It's like one of the best experiences I had in my whole life. So that pumped me up. And then when I got back to reality, and I thought, I'm not irreplaceable. When I die, and if I die on the line of duty, or if I have a heart attack or car crash, and some people mourn me. Probably, I think they're gonna miss me. But on the next day, there will be someone doing my job. So that led me to think more about myself and my family. I have like Gabriela, I have my mother, my sister, my nephew. I love them so much, and then I need to care about me. So I had this, that courage to seek for help, and it's kind of hard because I'm sharing this for the first time, but I'm feeling comfortable to do so. I won't be able to do that like 1 or 2 years ago.
One, like, thank you so much for sharing that. That's massive. That's huge. I know it's a lot harder saying it out loud, or sharing it with other people. It's easy for us to just think about it and, oh yeah, I'm kind of messed up. Something's not right. But the minute you you say it, it's almost like you turn it,
Yeah.
you make it real. You turn it into that monster now, right? But listening to you, man, and this goes out to all first responders, everyone here, military as well as what you guys are doing is something very courageous, right? Um, but you guys are serving. You guys are there to serve a community that you want to make better. But you can't forget that you're living for something else. You're living for your family. You're living for your fiance, for your those who you're in a relationship with, for your parents. That's who you're living for. For yourself. Serve your community and want greatness for your community. But at the end of the day, live for them, live for
Mm.
you. So a lot of respect to you for being able to see it, understand that something wasn't right, and you seeked help because, yeah, man, a lot of people firsthand that they waited too long, and unfortunately, now they're not with us. Now they're not living for the
Mhm.
people that
Yeah.
want them to live.
Uh, Two things that I'll add to that, and I think you know Ryan could probably piggyback off of this too, because I think he's probably a little similar to myself. My background is I was like the most non-vulnerable person you would ever meet as I grew up in the department, right? Like just the feelings were they just yeah, I don't do the vulnerable stuff. I didn't do the vulnerable stuff growing up in the department. Um and I thought too because I was a Marine, because it was weakness, whatever the case is. Uh but I realize now that the impact that it has on other people,
Mhm.
so um the way that I look at it now, my view on it now, Mario, is when I love the fact that you say, and we're honored. I feel so honored that you would just come here and share this for the first time, right? Knowing that people are going to
Yeah.
listen to this. But I also want to kind of impress upon you um, that there's probably of the 27,000 cops, right, in Sao Paulo.
Yeah.
Of the 27,000 cops, there's probably a significant number of them that feel the same as you, maybe
Oh,
worse
for
than
sure,
you.
yeah.
And when they hear somebody like you that has checked these boxes, works homicide, you've worked the SWAT guy, you've been in the military, you've done all these things in your career. And to say that, you know what, I'm seeking help for it, it tells other people that have always wanted it
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
it's okay to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
honestly, that's why like we're here now, and that's why after all these years, we're
Yeah.
free to open up and talk about these things because the fact of the matter is I do want a young cop to listen to what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
and I want them to know at an early stage in their career that hey, if the captain can talk about be vulnerable and talk about getting help, if the lieutenant can talk about vulnerable and being getting help, then I could do it, and that
Mm-hmm.
that echoes in their career, that they go through their career knowing that they can get help and that it's not weakness, and um, so honestly, that's why we do it, and I'm so grateful and proud that you said that because I know and I pray that there are cops in your country in where you work that listen to that and like, fuck man, if Mario's a badass motherfucker, if
Mhm.
he could get help, that hey, dude, I can get help too. Anybody can do it. And honestly, that's where it starts. You know,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of like that saying where it's like, don't be scared to ask a dumb question in the classroom because there might be another student in the classroom too scared to ask that question. So Mario, you could be that tipping point for that person that is just too scared to ask the questions on what's going on. But because you're stepping forward and you're saying, "Hey guys, I am who I am. I'm human. I hurt too." They might be like, "Oh, dude, Mario's doing it. Like, I need help too." So it feels scary being vulnerable, but I promise you, you sharing this, you're doing a lot more
yeah.
good than you know.
And he touched on another part. The second part of what he said was he talked about prioritizing. Like he realized, what's important. He talked about his mom. He talked about Gabriella. He talked about your sister. That those were important. And I always preach this, and Ryan, chime in at any point if you want. But I always talked about, like, as I grew up in the department, I always thought like I was this badass cop and nobody could touch me, right? Like I was just, my shit didn't stink, and that was so far from the truth. That was so far from the truth. Now that I look back, and I didn't prioritize, I didn't make those things important, right? And they suffered. Like my personal life suffered because I was so focused on my work. I was so focused on working overtime and being a good patrol cop and a good gang cop, more so than being a good human being, more so than being a good son, a good brother, a good uncle, a good partner, whatever. I neglected those things because I was so focused on being good at work. And a lot of young people, in our profession, just any first responder profession, don't realize that when you're balanced, when the home life is good, work life is exponentially good. But they just concentrate on working so much. And I mean, I could start with A's. I could name the cops that start with A's that work a lot of overtime. They're just great cops. They're just phenomenal cops. But I also hope that they're phenomenal human beings at home, because honestly, that's how you change culture, is by changing the person, not by changing, you know what I mean? So I pray that they're good people at home, and we preach that. I don't know, I don't live with them, but we preach that where we work. We preach that we want you to take time, to take time off of work. Don't work 7 days a week. Spend time with your wife, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, mom, dad, brother, sister, child, whatever. Because think about all the, Ryan, all the cops, they missed all their kids' games growing up, and they were never at their children's, baseball games or their daughter's soccer games or whatever the case is. And they look back in life, dude. So many cops I've heard that are like, dude, I can never go back and redo that. At the time, it seems great, right? Because you're working overtime, you're making the money, you're with your boys, you're with whatever. But you look back in retrospect and you're like, fuck, man, I'm never going to get that game back with my daughter or my son, or I'll never, I say that, dude, I missed all these milestones in my family because I decided to work, and it doesn't make you a less cop because you're not, it actually makes you a better cop because balance. You know what I mean? And it took me so long to realize that, but now we preach it. Right. We preach it all the time. We go to briefings and we tell cops, just take time off of work.
Yeah,
Take
and
time with your family.
self-monitoring yourself and preventing burnout, employee burnout, it's a big component of wellness. And it's incumbent upon ourselves to not only police ourselves, but our friends, or other people that we're working with. We always talk about loving our job, but too much of any good thing is too much, right?
Yeah.
So, like you said, Jaime, there's a lot of our great cops that are out there, but they're working, trying to buy that new pool or trying to buy that new motorcycle. And it's going to be a detriment, not just to their family, but also the public. They're going to show up to a call and be a little more apt to be, have a short fuse. So it's just a lose-lose situation. Jaime, you mentioned back in that time that you weren't a good human being. You were always a good human being, but like you said, you just didn't have that balance. Balance
Sure.
is key. Balance is key, man.
Yeah. Touche. Thank you. Mario, how does mental health look? What does it look like in your agency in Brazil? Like if you're experiencing PTSD, is that something that's still very hidden? Like cops don't want to tell people that. So in our department, if you're experiencing PTSD or trauma, now I feel like most cops are comfortable to say, "Hey, I need to see some therapy, or I need to speak to a counselor." I think for the most part, we're in an era in our department where cops are comfortable in saying that. Is that the case where you're from?
I think that's for the new generation. Yes, yeah. I have this opportunity to teach classes to the recruits, and I heard them talking about it. There's still a police academy, but some came from other agencies, and they do talk about it. They have like a psychologist and like support personnel at the police academy for the young ones and the old ones as well. And it's kind of a it's kind of a 2025 thing.
Mhm.
This they say like depression is the disease of this generation or this decade, and but the problem is we are like old agency. The average age of our officers like 50 years. So most of our agents, let's say like 50 plus, 45 to 50, and that's complicated because of this cultural barrier. And they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to appear weak, and and there's more because when you put this like old cops and the new ones, and the recruit wants to talk about it, probably one of the old guys will say, "Oh, that's bullshit. Yeah, you don't have what it takes to be a police officer. Get out of here. I don't want to share like a police car with you." And but that's complicated because they should see the old guy as like a reference, like have the safe space inside the squad car and to share his feelings. And it's not 100%, but most of the times that's when it happens.
Mhm.
This cultural barrier,
Well,
mostly because of age.
yeah. I mean, we see the same thing. The good part, I think, for us is a lot of our, we're a young department now, so a lot of our older veteran cops, 30 plus years on, they've retired, and some of them did have some very primitive thinking, not any fault of their own, but because that's how they grew up
Yeah,
in law enforcement. That's what the norm was, right? And I think we're really shifting away from that. We're such a young culture now that the younger culture, they realize that it's okay to, and honestly, social media has helped us with that a lot. I know people, they frown upon that, like, oh my gosh, it's just the social media age, and it's really messed up our young generation. But I think it's kind of helped them in a way too. That's that it's helped them know that it's okay to get help when they need help. If that
Mhm.
makes sense. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Um, Mario, kind of as we start to close up, we're going to kind of get into our closing. I want to know what's your legacy? Like, what do you want to leave behind? What do you want people to know about you? What's something that people that follow you, or what do you want them to know?
yeah. I have to take care now because Gabriella is working at the internal affairs right now.
Mm. And Gabriella, just for our audience, Gabriella is your fiance, right? And she also
Yeah,
works as
she's
civil
a
police.
police officer. Yeah, yeah, and she's with the internal affairs right now. But what what I want people to know about me that it took me 23 years to gather the courage to seek for help.
Mm.
It took me like 5 minutes when I joined the police academy 23 years ago to get the courage to go inside a favela. But it took me 23 years to get courage to seek for help. So that's you know, do you have what it takes to go inside a favela? Yeah, I think every cop that truly wants to be a cop kind of desires that. I want to go in a mission with my rifle and all that stuff. Okay, that's courage. I won't say that's not courage, but it took me 23 years to discover what courage is. So that's one of people. That's what people want to know me about me. Don't don't I don't want to see like stories like Adriano, my dearest friend, who shot
Mm.
himself. Because if you're struggling you are a brave man. You can go inside a favela. You can, arrest whoever, but you have the courage to seek for help. Please do it. So we had a saying in Brazil: don't get involved into a call. A call is just a call. A case is just a case. But we are human beings. We cannot be stripped of this human nature when you jump into our uniforms. You cannot leave our human nature back home, and you get into like the squad car and do your mission. And that's complicated because I lived all my life, this 23 years, thinking and having this saying as a mantra: don't get involved into a call. A call is just a call. A case is just a case. But as a human being, I can't deny my nature, my human nature. And I think that's the courage. That's the thing I want. Maybe inspire someone. Please do this. You are a brave man. You fought your war. Seek for help.
Love that.
Well said. Yeah. Shit. That's a
Love
mic drop
that.
right there. Yeah.
Right.
Any closing words, Q, Ryan?
Yeah, I'll let Ryan go ahead if you have any closing remarks.
Yeah, I feel like I was ignorant as far as the gravity of the situation you guys face out there in Brazil. So hats off to you guys. We kept referred to your country a couple times, not in a bad way, but as a third world country. But just listening to you, man, you're a first rate human being.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a lot of the people that you lead are the same. Hearing you come and talk to us about your depression at the end was really impactful for me, and you really exhibited some true strength there. So people getting the link to the show and hearing you admit that, like these guys said, is going to be very impactful for those people that need it. So God bless you, and thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, to kind of piggyback off of Ryan, you had said something right now about strength, where it's like, it took you 5 minutes of you being in the academy and you're ready to jump into the favelas, but it took you, 23 years or so to seek the help to become a better person for yourself, right? And man, that speaks volume on where we are as a society, as a culture of what is strength, what is it really, right? Because sure, when you're young and you're full of, we like saying, when you're full of piss and vinegar, you're ready to go in there, you're ready to go into battle. Yeah, you get older and you're like, wait a second, let me think about this, because I have a lot more to live for. I'm not young. I have a family now, married, and I can't just go into a battle guns blazing, because although it took me 5 minutes to build that courage to jump into the favelas, it takes 1 second for that bullet to strike me down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for you to come this far and get all this help, a lot of respect to you, a lot of respect for what you do for your community and your country. Just like first responders and military out here, we do this because we love our community and because we love our country. And I could see that love that you carry for your community and your country. And now that you're seeking the help that you got, that love for yourself, dude, always remember to love yourself. Like you said, a call is a call, a case is a case, but you're you, and you got a lot more to live for. So stick to that, brother. Stay strong out there, and trust me, you're helping a lot more people by just speaking up like this. So thank you so much for coming on, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Jaime?
Yeah. So some closing remarks. First, something I noticed. I'm no longer a street cop or investigator, if you will. But I did notice you have a Pomona patch right there behind you over what's your left
Yeah.
shoulder? Your left shoulder right there? That's it right there. Yeah, it's a really looks really good on your wall, by the way. Also want you to know that I have the patch that you gave me. This is your
Yeah.
older patch,
Special
so right?
Operations Group. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
This is Special Operations Group. Yep.
yeah, older patch there. So I know that
Yeah.
I still have that, and also want to show this picture of some really handsome fellas here. I know it's blurry. Yeah, sorry, I don't think you can see it, but
Uh,
couple studs there. Thought be appropriate to kind of show that, but
we get it. You guys clean up nicely. All right, relax. Relax.
yeah, we did. In closing, Mario, thanks for coming on here. Thanks for sharing. I really realized that from Sao Paulo, Brazil to Southern California, our badges, they look different, but the burdens that we share are the same.
Hmm.
And tonight, you really reminded us that leadership isn't just, it's not about command. It's more about compassion. It's about conviction, confrontation, um, really confronting the darkness, so that I guess we create light for other people that follow behind us, right? Um, and we know that PTSD, it it doesn't speak a language, right? It doesn't speak English. It doesn't speak Portuguese, right? Or what I think in the first Brazilian when I
Brazilian.
first met you, yeah,
Do you speak
Brazilian when I
Brazilian?
first met you. You speak Brazilian, yeah. I'm an idiot. I admit it.
He's educated. All right.
Yeah.
He's
That it doesn't, it doesn't wear a uniform. That it's universal. That
Mhm.
PTSD is universal. That on wherever you're at, all the fronts, it's it's really universal. And police work may be different, but I think the things that we suffer are the same. The anxiety, the depression, sleepless nights, waking up at 2 a.m, the sweats. I can go through the whole checklist uh, of things, but the fact that we're here and we're talking about it, you know, um, and trying to deal with it, and not just trying to deal with it, but trying to help people behind us, those that come after us, those that are still there doing it. I think that's the biggest message. And the fact that we can reach out to somebody, that's, you know, uh, hundreds and hundreds of miles away, and that's 11:30 at night in Brazil right now, right?
Yeah.
Past bedtime. Um,
he's cold. We're hot.
yeah, you're cold. We're hot.
Yeah.
It's 50 degrees there. It's 110 here.
54. Yeah.
Um, definitely different walks of life,
Yeah.
but that we can come together under a common cause, and try to find a common solution for a common problem, really, just across the world. Um, so it's great that you're here, and we're talking about these things and try to solve what we've really identified right now on our podcast as a global issue,
Hmm.
really,
Yeah.
just across borders. And so I'm grateful, Mario. I'm grateful that you came on here, that you talked. I'm grateful to have, to have met you. And just a little tidbit that I wanted to say about you that I should have probably said in your introduction. Um, that Mario is a historian. He's like a historian buff. He knows something about everything. Um, he knows more about. I'm actually ashamed to admit this. He knows more about my country than I do. Um, you could show him a statue, a building, and he will give you the history, the nomenclature behind it. And I was actually embarrassed to go to places like Virginia, because Virginia is so history rich.
Yeah.
When we were in Quantico, and we would see something, and I'd say, I'd look at a statue, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, this is General so and so from World War II, and he served." And I'm like, how do you know all of this? But come to find out that he loves war history and just history in general, and he's a very accomplished traveler. He's traveled several countries that would put most people to shame, as a matter of fact. And you don't just speak Portuguese. He speaks other languages as well.
I mean, great English, by the way.
My English is terrible.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. This
It's,
is
you know what it is, dude? It's sexy. It's
Yeah.
sexy, dude. It's your English.
Hey,
is sexy.
I have aunts and uncles that have been here for
It's
40
sexy.
years, and their English is trash.
It's sexy, bro. I love it.
Hey Mario, I have one final thing for Mario. If you guys happen to have like an international officer exchange program, I would jump on the grenade for my agency. I'll go out to Brazil. I'll go. I'll go.
Only if you go to the favelas, you say.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking more of
I
the
can take you
beach.
there.
I was thinking more of the beach.
I can take you there as well. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been truly an honor. Attaining the National Academy made me a better person. Meeting Jaime made me a better person. Being here today as a guest made me a better person. Know you guys, getting to know you guys a little bit made me a better person. Taking this opportunity to share all these feelings made me a better person. And what I would say, don't lose the opportunity to be a better person. My English is terrible. I'm trying to improve it. I'm trying to be like a better person every day. That's my struggle. Fulfill your mission. Do whatever you need to do, and get home safely to your family. Be a better person. Be a better person for you and for them. That's it. Love you guys. Thanks so
appreciate
much.
it, brother.
Love
Thank you,
you.
man.
Well, hey,
Excellent.
progress over perfection. Always work on yourself. And again, serve your community, but live for your family, live for your loved ones, live for yourself. Jaime, anything else real quick?
No, Mario, it's great seeing you, brother.
Yeah.
I plan still to go to Brazil, and you're gonna
Yeah.
host me.
2026, bro.
Yeah.
Next year.
Sounds
If you
good,
don't
man.
show up, I'm gonna grab a plane back to LA, and
Okay.
I'm going to kidnap you, right?
Sounds
And-
good.
Because
he's-
you have to do it. Yeah. We'll have a retrainer in 2026 will be in Rio. And I'll be waiting at the airport lobby for you guys.
Okay,
he's gonna be pointing out all the monuments as he's flying in.
that's right. And
Challenge
we don't.
accepted.
And in Brazil, they don't drink bourbon; they drink cachaça.
Cachaça. Yeah.
Cachaça.
Well, hey,
Yeah.
I'm willing to try that, brother.
I don't know what it is,
Hey.
but it sounds delicious.
Yeah.
It's delicious
Yeah.
and it's deadly. Let me just say that. So
The caipirinhas. You remember the caipirinhas? Yes.
caipirinhas, yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember the
Yes.
caipirinhas, but people
Yeah.
tell me I remember them.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
but one more time, Mario, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Such a pleasure getting to know you. You're doing amazing work out there. Jaime, Ryan, love you guys.
Number two,
Love
man.
you, Mario.
Cheers,
Keep
brother.
fighting the good fight out there. Always work on yourself. Everyone,
Thank
thank you
you.
for listening. Like, subscribe, follow us, comment, all that good stuff. Good stuff help us pass on this message. And thank you guys so much for listening and watching. This is Whiskey and War Stories. One more time, guys. Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
And we are out.
See you, boys.